Hey guys, back with another equipment repair video. This is a follow-up video from the previous Zoom H4n headphone socket repair. For today, we're looking into the bigger brother, the Zoom H6 recorder. We got ours around 2015, 2016, and we lost the headphone socket and the line out around 2020, right before the pandemic hit. At that point, it was still used in the studio for sessions where listening was not as critical, like recording jam sessions, sound effects or Foley sessions where you needed to do a quick sound effects and Foley session, or you needed to record a few ambiances outside the studio. We really liked the mid-side mic on this one. But yeah, I guess because it's first generation H series recorder, I think these units were plagued with the same issues on the headphone socket, and this time even the line out socket, or it could be just our use case and our units, right? We did use this in the field quite a lot. So in the studio, it had a good run up until we lost the LCD. Another issue that's plagued by this unit, the OG series at least. And fortunately for me, I was able to find a replacement LCD. If you guys are interested in that repair, you guys can check out this link up here. Unfortunately, at the time of this recording, it's now hard to source a spare LCD replacement. Hopefully, if we get better news, I'll be updating that video on the LCD repair. But for today, we are going to look at repairing the 3.5mm or 8-inch headphone socket and the line out socket, right? My assumption, because it's quite hard to find service manuals of these things, and sometimes, quite frankly, it's not worth it, but hey, I had a 6-track recorder that could use a little bit of love. So I assumed it used the same PJ3043 6-pin headphone socket. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you guys can refer to the H4n video repair, link in the description, right? Where I talk about the component in detail. But for today, I assumed that this recorder used the same, right? And when I did open it up, I was quite happy to say, or to see, that it did use a 6-pin headphone socket and all the pins lined up correctly on the PCB, right? So since I had busted outputs and a recorder without a proper monitoring system is a dead recorder, right? I had nothing to lose, okay? I had the spare part and I went on ahead and desoldered the component and soldered in the new components. Similar to the H4n problem, I had 3 attempts repairing this unit. On the first attempt, as we all know from the H4n video, I had the wrong pink PJ3053. Unfortunately, I also soldered the wrong component on both outputs on this device, and as you all know, I'll cut the long story short, that was bad. It didn't work, all right? Second attempt, when I finally had the PJ3043 normally open headphone socket, I did get the line out to work, right? Unfortunately, the headphone output still didn't work correctly. I was only getting signal on the left channel, all right? I hadn't given up on it yet at that point. A few months passed by. I gave it a 3rd attempt, hoping that I just had a bad socket, all right? Resoldered the same component, and to my dismay, it still didn't work. Only the left channel had signal, so at that point, I gave up on this unit. Something else is probably problematic somewhere else in the PCB, and that's already going to be quite difficult to troubleshoot. right? At least for my skill set. So for today, I'll just walk you through the disassembly and some assembly and disassembly notes, hopefully to guide you through if you guys wish to do this repair on your own. Disclaimer, of course, I cannot be held responsible for what happens to your unit. I'm only sharing what I've experienced. Again, line out, the PJ3043 headphone socket worked. Headphone out, it didn't work as intended. So I'm thinking it's not the same component or something else is wrong with my unit. All right. So with that, I hope you guys learned something from this video, and I'll see you on the inside. All right, real quick, at the front, you've got 4 gain knobs. You can just pry them off with a plastic tool or flathead screwdriver. At the back, you've got 6 screws. 4 of them are hidden behind rubber caps. And at the top, there are 2 screws holding the front plate to the unit. So once you remove all those, you can pull back the front plate. At the very top, there's 1 screw holding the top PCB, and then there are 3 screws holding the LCD in place. LCD swings to the left. Just disconnect the ribbon cable and you should be good to go. If you guys need help with that, I go into greater detail in my other H6 LCD repair video. But at this point, we're going to have to remove the second PCB from the back plate. You can already see the headphone socket on the lower left corner. But we're going to have to get access to the other side where the soldering points are in order to desolder this component. So there are 4 screws holding the second PCB to the back plate. You can see them right here. Once you unscrew them, you can already pull back the back plate from the second PCB. But just be careful because there are still 3 connectors holding the second PCB to the last PCB at the bottom of the unit. It's 2 ribbon cables and what I believe is a power cable. The power cable you can easily disconnect from the front, but for the 2 ribbon cables, the easiest way I found to disconnect them is to pull away the second PCB from the back plate and you pivot from the bottom of the unit, if that makes sense, as you guys can see here. And from that point, you can already see the connectors for the ribbon cables and you can easily disconnect them. Alright, and then at that point, we now have access to the back part of the component and we can proceed to desolder the old headphone socket and solder the new headphone socket. Right, so there are a few surface mount resistors, I think, around the contact points of the headphone socket. So yeah, just be careful when you desolder the old one and resolder the new one. I think there's relatively enough space to perform this fix quite successfully. But yeah, good luck. Okay, once that's done, we can now turn our attention to the third PCB where the other line out socket is located. Alright, so there are 3 screws holding this last PCB to the back plate. The third one is behind the ribbon cable, just in case you guys missed it. And from that point, same banana, desolder the old component, resolder the new component. Good luck, steady hands. So for the reassembly, just work your way back in the reverse order. Hopefully you guys took pictures. If not, feel free to rewatch the video and just take your time while you piece the unit back together. And the last bit. You guys know this part of the repair already. The line out worked. The headphone output, not so much. We only have signal coming out of the left channel. I even tried to spot check for the last time the capacitors, if any of them were obviously burnt or bulging that needed replacing. But at this point, I called it a day, and if one day the LCD gives up again or the line out breaks again, I still have a few spare parts for replacing that socket. For the LCD, we'll see how that pans out, but at this point, I'm just happy to give this recorder a new lease on its recording life, and I'm happy to be able to use it at the state that it's in currently. So yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.